Hi, everyone. Good morning. It's Sunday, December 7th. My name is Greg, and I'll be hosting this program today and also doing part of the interview anyway with our special guest today, who is a longtime member of our organizations. This is Soul School Network. You can find us on our website, soulschoolnetwork.com, as well as on Facebook and YouTube. And so we welcome all of those who joined us live today and also those who will watch the recording on YouTube. I can see we've become quite popular as something people watch on a weekly basis. And all of our videos are posted on our website under the resources tab. So today we're going to march straight through and begin our program. Normally we do a grounding meditation with Inka, but she's here as our special guest as well. So she'll ground us enough as we go along, I'm sure. So I'll just say a few words before we get started. Inka, as many of you know, is an Incan high priestess and also a medicine woman. And we'll get into understanding what those terms mean as we go through our conversation today. The title of our talk today is Step into Your Sacred Journey, or Sacred Destiny, rather. Inka's website, by the way, is alturaspiritualjourneys.com. So you can check that out as we move along, or check on it later, because Inka works with people from around the world, individually and in groups. And I think many of you will find her words to be very meaningful and maybe something that you would like to dig into further with her. Inka on her website says that she was really born to be a medicine woman, and that we are all born to be medicine women. And I will say men are included here. There's not many of us on the call today, but the truth is that Inka and her husband Peter work with both men and women at this point. I'll say this: Inka describes her work in this way. I guide and initiate rising medicine women, priestesses, leaders of the light, just like you, on the path of sacred service with a solid foundation, grounded medicine, and powerful aligned energy so that they can step fully into their sacred mission with ease, confidence, and so that you can grow in a timely manner now and for years to come. She also says that she helps to create sacred containers. She allows women, and in this case also men, free themselves from secret feelings of self-doubt, feeling not good enough, feeling stuck. Those who are really blocking themselves from fully embodying the medicine woman and the spiritual individual that they were born to be. So, Inka, without any further ado, welcome.
Thank you, Greg. Hi,
Nice to
everyone.
have you here. I have gotten to know Inka quite a bit over the last couple of years. She is friends of family and is really now family. She means a lot to me in many ways. And Inka, I'd love it if we could start with telling the story of how you got to be where you are today, because I know, in conversations you've talked about the struggles that got you where you are, and how those really were the catalyst for making changes in your life. So could you take us back to, really the early days of your life? You were born in Peru, I understand. Could you tell us sort of uh, what the early years were like and where your career path took you?
Yes, thank you. I was born in Lima and I grew up very disconnected from the spiritual traditions and the traditional Incan knowledge of energy and the truth of our souls. I was very disconnected from all of that, although I grew up very connected to the traditions through music and the traditional food as well. So for me, coming back to my roots and rediscovering the spiritual traditions and the medicine woman's path took the destruction of my past life. So I grew up with all of these concepts and belief systems that didn't really serve me well. I was very much in my head, not in my heart. And so I thought that I was doing a very smart thing, following what society expected from me. So I did everything in that certain way, expecting happiness and success. And from the outside, when I was in my early 20s, it looked like I was getting there. I had a career in nursing that was very beautiful. I had a fiancé who later I married, and I had a beautiful family, and I was living in this beautiful city called Vancouver, Canada, because I moved there when I was 19. So everything looked really good, and yet I was quite unhappy. I was doubting myself all the time. I didn't feel good enough. Actually, I grew up that way. And so for me, it was just a continuation of some uh, very hidden suffering, this inner suffering. So when I actually came to terms with the fact that it was time to divorce my first husband, and I got a download at one moment in time. I was so depressed, but silently depressed. Nobody knew, just me. I asked, I asked God, the divine, at some point, why am I in this position? Why am I going through this? Why? How is that my life became such a really difficult experience? Why am I struggling? And so what I heard was, you are going to hurt him less if you leave him than if you stay. So that message just changed everything. And right away, I got separated and the divorce, but that triggered a domino effect in my life where I lost my family and I had to move out of Vancouver. I got a job in a remote area, in a rural place. I actually lived in a reserve in an island in northern BC. And so I became very much like a hermit. I had no one around that would support me or love me. Everyone that surrounded me before with love, they were judging me for my decision to leave my ex-husband. So they didn't understand all of this because, of course, everything looked good from the outside, and they couldn't understand why I would leave a perfectly good husband that they had grown to love. So at that point, I went to the depths of depression in that little island, surrounded by Native American people in that reserve. And I had a spiritual awakening through an encounter with eagles. A couple of eagles landed on my balcony one day. I was there at home by myself, and I heard this loud noise, and it was the eagles landing there. And so I looked through the window, and there they were in front of me, and I was able to look at them in the eye. Especially, I had this deep connection with the male eagle that it was obviously so big and muscular, very powerful, very, very powerful. And so it was a few seconds that this encounter lasted, and I didn't know what it meant at the moment. I just knew it was quite rare and very special to have this moment when I looked at this eagle, and this eagle was looking at me so close. And then they flew away. 2 weeks later, only I discovered that there was such a thing called energy work, which I had never known existed before. And from there, very soon, I found a spiritual teacher who had a program. Back then, it was a training for high priestesses. Again, totally foreign language to me. And her program was basically a very beautiful 101 kind of program to reconnect with the essence and recognize that we all have a soul journey and a mission, and that we have inner power to do good in this world. And so that was the very beginning of a beautiful lifelong journey of returning and realigning and coming back with divine essence. And in fact, that's why one of the programs that I offer is called that, Divine Essence. because that's at the very center of it all, being truly ourselves.
I find it interesting. I was reading your website, of course, and one of the phrases you use is the eagle and the condor. And of course, in Peru, the condor is a very special and a sacred bird. And of course, you would have known that growing up here. And then here you have this experience with these eagles. Was there something about them taking flight or the magnificence of these um, beasts or animals that made you look inward?
I received an spiritual transmission from them very clearly for me through the male eagle. Also, in the Incan tradition, we know that a person is called to the path of the medicine woman or medicine man by receiving an star. That's the way they speak about it in the tradition. And what's a star? Often here in Peru is someone walking in the countryside finds herself in a remote location all of a sudden with an elderly man or a woman. And if it's an elderly woman, we know that's Pachamama, the embodiment of Pachamama in physical form, and you're having this divine encounter with her. If it's a male grandfather, and most likely then it is a spirit of a mountain. We call them in Quechua, the Incan language, Apu. And so we know these things happen. Also, and a star can be the calling to the sacred path through a dream, a vivid dream where the spirit guides connect with us in the dream world and show us the path, somehow calls us to this path. For me, then, the star were the eagles. And actually, looking back in time, I understood that why I had an encounter with two eagles, even though I connected mostly with one of them, is because my husband, Peter, who is my second husband and soulmate, is also an Incan priest in the path. So I received the call in the star for the two of us at that time, even though I didn't know how all of this was going to unfold at that moment in time. But that's what happened. And yes, you are right. There is a connection, eagles and condors. So the eagles usually are for the North American, Native American, the messengers of the divine in North America, and the condor is the messenger also of the divine, of the higher upper world here in the Andes of Peru.
Orianka, Michael has spent a lot of time talking about some of the readings he does. He talks about Baba G, and what a spiritual being that he was, and his appearing to people, and then how he became a teacher for others, appearing in their lives at the right time, and performing acts that really showed them what a teacher is all about. You talk about this first program that you were involved in. Have through the years, and I know you continue to study with teachers, with leaders in the spiritual community. How important have those people been? Because here, I think on Soul School Network, a lot of us are, in search of the right teacher.
Mm-hmm. Well, they are very important. I wouldn't be walking the path of the medicine woman and Incan priestess without having had spiritual guides and teachers through the years, without having by my side also teachers nowadays that I can count on, and also fellow spiritual leaders and soulful people that can be around me and that we can share this common understanding of our life purpose and the importance of bringing the divine light through our own selves, our work, our deeds, anything and everything that we are and who we are, what we do is meant to bring divine light and love and raise the frequency of the planet. And of course, that includes our own family. If they allow us to do that, that includes our friends, our community, anyone and everyone. But yes, so after that calling that I got with the Eagles, not only was that, of course, the calling to service, but it also was the calling to start the path with my own inner healing, which I needed. I needed so much healing. There were mountains of heavy energy and belief systems that didn't serve me well from way back when I was in my mother's womb throughout my whole life. There was a lot of unlearning that I needed to do. And I was so willing to go through that path because at that point, I had I got to this understanding that my whole life I have created from a place of not really knowing myself. I have created a whole reality from my head, thinking this is going to work out really well. And the aftermath has been destruction because none of that had solid foundations. How could I be happy or accomplished truly if none of that was in alignment for me? None of that was in alignment with my soul's path. At least at that point became very, very clear that it was time to let go of everything. And so when I realized that, I said to myself, well, if that didn't work, then what does? I need to learn how to live my life all over again. And so I was very willing to go through that learning and through the healing. And I had wonderful spiritual guides, some of them from North America, that I, remember fondly, and I love them so much. Very grateful to them all. At some point, they all told me, you need to go back to Peru to heal with your own medicine, because Peru has very strong, powerful medicine. Go back and heal with your own traditional medicine. So I came back to Peru as soon as I was able to, and I went into my very first two Incan ceremonies for my own healing, and they were absolutely transformational. Just for context, Incan ceremonies do not require drinking or eating, ingesting any type of plant medicine. So I had this amazing um, experience of bliss, and I sensed the connection with Pachamama and the Incan ancient ones, also spirits like the mountains, like all of them were around, and I could feel their presence and I could feel their power. And so that changed my life forever, because at that moment I asked, how can I do this? Like, I really want to be living in ceremony. I want to be the one holding ceremony. Can somebody teach me? Can somebody tell me how to do this? What do I need? Do I need permission? So I started to ask all of these questions. I was so excited to find out. And so sure enough, I was told, yes, you can be initiated in the Incan path. You can. And you need a teacher, and you will need ceremonies of initiation. And so next thing I did is come back to Peru from Canada once again the next year for ayahuasca ceremony. And that was also very transformational in its own right. And did further healing and clearing and realignment with that. And from there, I kept on going, and I started on the initiatory path in the Incan lineage. So yes, and the rest is history.
Well, so, we're going to get into that
Mhm.
right now. I just want to welcome, we have a few new viewers with us now. Today, we're having an interview with Inka. She's an Incan high priestess and a medicine woman and so much more. You can find her website, alturaspiritualjourneys.com. You want to check that out and see some of the programs that she offers remotely and also in person. Koryanka, let's jump into the the role of Incan High Priestess, and also what are the maybe some of the key lessons that one would learn from you, and maybe some of the programs that you offer, because I think some of them may be applicable to us even if we're not on a mountain in Peru. What is a high priestess, and what do you feel, or what is your sense of responsibility and your role?
Mm. Yes, that's a great question. A high priestess. It depends who you ask. The answer will be different. A different priestess will say something probably a little or a lot different. So just bear that in mind. This is my very personal take on that, as I am in the path of the Incan priestess myself. My understanding is that the priestess, the high priestess, it's a leader of love and light. And we are here to transmit everything that the spirit guides are sharing with us, every lesson learned, everything that they want us to transmit. So I often feel and think about my role as a priestess as a channel. I am channeling, and not in a way that some people might channel going into a trance state and that, but it's more like this opening and willingness to be the voice and the face, the physical presence of the spirit guides. Since they speak softly and speak to the soul. And a lot of the times, people, because either they are too distracted, too stressed out, too in struggle, or they are in misalignment. There might be many, many reasons why sometimes people cannot hear their own spirit guides talking to them. They just have a hard time and they don't know how to connect with the spirit guides. So, as an Incan high priestess, one of my important roles is that I help receive those messages and I transmit them. And so it's easier for people to start getting to have a conversation and relationship with the spirit guides. Even people learn and discover that there can be such a relationship with the spirits of the plants, with the spirit of Pachamama, with the spirits of the mountains, with the spirits of many, many beautiful energies of love and light that are all around them and just want to be there for them and support them and love them. However, if they are not quite ready for that level of communication, they cannot benefit and receive that much love from them. So I help for this process to happen whenever people are ready and want that. As an Incan priestess also, through ceremonies, I support this kind of connection of people with the spirit guides of love and light. And we can go into the healing process, which now overlaps with the role of the medicine woman.
Yes, and I'd love it for you to do that. Also, in Peru or in the Incan tradition, we hear a lot about the Apus. We hear a lot about Pachamama, Pachapapa. Could you sort of give us a sense of how they fit into the story of Incan spirituality?
Yes, Pachamama is very famous, right? That's the spirits of Mother Earth. And Mother Earth is really special. She has so many qualities and energetic signatures depending where you are in the world. Even within a country is huge, a huge amount of land, and there are different energies wherever you go, even from place to place in your own town. So there is this diversity all around. But Pachamama basically is our mother holding us, feeding us, supporting life for us and for every other living being on the planet. Pachamama is a benevolent, loving spirit, although she has also this strong energy and she can also teach in ways that are not so soft and so sweet. So she can have all of these different energies and ways of being, but she always does everything for our highest good, and we receive her love and blessings as long as we are willing to be open to receive too those blessings and that much love. So the more we're willing and open to receive, we receive more. And there is a relationship that we get to build with Pachamama where there is reciprocity and it's a giving and receiving, and it's one where there needs to be an energetic balance in that relationship, and gratitude is very much part of the equation in that relationship. Now, Pachatata is the energetic signature of Pachamama that is masculine, is the masculine counterpart, whereas Mother Earth is mostly feminine. That's why we know her famously as Pachamama. Pachatata is that masculine aspect of the mother. So there is this other masculine energy, just like we human beings, we can be men or women, and there is a primary energy. We're more like into the feminine or more masculine, but we have both energies inside of us. So yes, that's how Pachamama is, and yes, Pachatata is that masculine aspect of her.
And I think you talked briefly about the Apus, but basically these are the spirits of the mountains, or the power of the mountains.
Yes, the spirits of the mountains are the Apus, And so every mountain has a spirit. And they have also different, if you will, personalities. Just like Pachamama, they have their own energetic signatures. And in my own personal experience as an Incan priestess and medicine woman, I have been building and I continue building relationships with each one of those mountains. So I have certain mountains I am mostly connected to and I speak to in prayers and I offer ceremonies and have that connection with them. Whereas with some others, I might not be as connected with them, simply because just like we people are in big communities, but we're not best friends with everyone, and not everyone is our teacher, not everyone has a role that is so important in our lives. This is the same way. So I get to know the spirits of the mountains as pretty much individuals, like I have, and I call them grandparents. For me, Pachamama is a grandmother. The spirits of the mountains are grandparents. And I have also spirits of plants that are my grandparents and grandmothers. So that's my relationship personally. Some people see them and relate to them as mothers and fathers, They are the mother, the father. For me, they are grandparents.
What I'd like to do is ask you about one ceremony that I know I've participated in a number of times. But beforehand, I just want to say to everyone, let's open the floor to questions to Cornejo. Many of you have had conversations with her before. Maybe you're interested in certain ceremonies that she does, or certain work that she does on a one-on-one basis, or in a group session. I know that Inka has programs that run throughout a year, and that might be interesting to some of you. Inka, and so I'll just ask one more question, and then we'll see if anyone raises their hands. But Inka, one of the ceremonies that I've done before is the one, and excuse me for not remembering the name of it, and I think there might be multiple names for it, but where you raise the coca leaves, three coca leaves, and you basically offer your prayers to the different apus, and you blow on the coca leaves as if to maybe send the energy of your question or your concern to them. Can you tell us a little bit about that ceremony and how powerful it is?
Yes, that actually is not a ceremony. It's a prayer. It's the Incan
Okay.
prayer, and actually, the Incan prayer anyone can do. That's not something that only Incan priests and priestesses get to do. Ceremonies of the Incan lineage is something that Incan priests and priestesses do, and they get permission from Pachamama and from the mountain spirits. We get the initiatory ceremonies so that we have what it takes, and everything is very much in alignment, and there is this agreement. There is an agreement between us and Pachamama and the mountains for us to do that. But for the Incan prayer, anyone can do that. And if you don't have coca leaves, you can use this other kind of leaf, bay leaves. You can use bay leaves, which are very commonly found everywhere in the world, I believe. And so if you use bay leaves, you can use the freshest that you can get, if possible at all. Sometimes they sell fresher ones online, I was told. So yes, we take 3 coca leaves, and this is a matter of saying a prayer from the heart with love, with respect, with faith. And what we're doing with the coca leaves is praying. And what is a prayer, right? It's a conversation. It's a message you're sending, in this case, to the spirit of Pachamama and the mountain spirits, the Apus. And prayer, when I was a child, I was taught in the Catholic tradition at the church. By example, I got to see that prayer was a matter of being really, really worried, stressed out, depressed, in some kind of emotional distress. And then is when you kind of pray, and you pray with tears, and you're suffering, and you're on your knees asking for help. Well, I learned later on in the Incan tradition and beyond, in all of these earth based, beautiful ways to work with the spirit guides of nature, that prayer is way much more powerful, and it's so beautiful when it doesn't necessarily include that element of distress and suffering. So a prayer I learned to do, and I encourage people to do, not with that energy of suffering and distress and desperation, but with love and faith, and with that inner knowing that your prayer is being listened to and that you are being supported and loved, that you just gotta ask. You just have to put it out there and say to your spirit guides, here I am. This is my life situation, my concern, and I would really, really love for you to be here and help me. I want to open up the doors to receive your support and loving blessings. And so with the coca leaves, you say in your own words what you want to say to the spirit guides, what you want support with. It's also great to include gratitude in the prayer for what you already have, because often when we are going through hardship or struggle, we kind of forget that there is a lot to be grateful for, that you are alive, and for anything that is going wrong, there are all kinds of things going right for you, that you have support, that there are miracles all around. And sometimes we don't get to see the miracles. We don't get to tap into those because we're too focused on what's not going well for us. And so that's kind of a disservice we're doing to ourselves, because we're just kind of adding more heavy energy on our shoulders, and we are not being available to the miracles of life and to the beauty all around. So the prayer is like that, with faith, love, with gratitude. And then what do we do with those coca leaves? We blow on them 3 times, and through our breath that comes from the belly, from deep within, we are sending those prayers and kind of like putting those prayers in the coca leaves, and the coca leaves become the medium for this prayer to go to Pachamama and the mountain spirits. So my spiritual teachers in the tradition often used to tell me, coca leaves are like the cell phones for the Inca people. Yeah, that's the medium of communication. And so after you have blown 3 times on the coca leaves, mindfully, with love, with reverence, with that faith in your heart, then you place the coca leaves somewhere in nature. So if you have a garden or even a plant at home, even better if you can go to the park, or if you're doing this prayer in the park or somewhere where there are plants, somewhere in nature, then you take those coca leaves and you can tuck them under a little bush, or if you have rocks all around, you can put them in a crack, a rock crack, and then you add a little something sweet, because you know what? Pachamama loves sweets. She loves
Oh,
sweets, but this is a matter of small tokens of affection. Okay, we're not asking you to do a big gift for Pachamama. Nothing elaborate, nothing huge. In the Incan tradition, this kind of prayer with the coca leaves go together with a tiny something sweet. So, for instance, if you love chocolate, and then you can take a chocolate bar and break it off, take a little piece, and you add it with the coca leaves and you put them in the earth. You can use also just grains of sugar. A little bit of sugar can go a long way. Piece of cake, a little tiny piece of a cookie, something sweet. You can add maybe a little flower, maybe a wild flower, or you can do something like that. Like it can go with a little something like that. So that's very sweet and a beautiful way to connect with Pachamama.
and I see people in Peru doing it oftentimes at meal times or when they're having a drink. They'll offer a little bit of their drink to Mother Earth and to Pachamama, and
Mm-hmm,
and maybe that's a good way to remind yourself to be giving thanks and to be
mm-hmm,
connecting in that way.
mm-hmm.
So thank you. Then.
Yeah, we live in relationship with each other as humans, but let's not forget also we have a relationship with the mother, with Pachamama and the mountains and many other spirits that are all around us. But we often, in big cities and in modern times, forget the interconnectedness of all of us. And we think that a mountain is somewhat of an object, and Pachamama is just the land we step on, and there is nothing to it. And we forget that they all have spirits, just like the plants do too, and the animals do too. And we are here in this together, in this home, that we call the earth, is really, really all of us. We are in this together.
We are, and certainly we are here on Soul School Network. I would like to open things up here for anyone to either ask questions to Koryanka or maybe relay an experience you've had that would be interesting. One of the ones I witnessed yesterday was Koryanka sharing with Susan and also Koryanka's husband, Peter, this using rose petals to create something. I don't know what. Maybe that's something. Sue, would you like to maybe just jump in quickly and talk about what that was all about?
Thank you. It was and thank you for your words, Koryanka. It's so lovely to hear this message from you. Yes, yesterday I had the pleasure with Koryanka and Peter going around our property, collecting rose petals, and then going through the process of making rose oil and also jasmine oil. It's in process, of course. This takes the next number of weeks for this to the oil and the petals to melt together. It was so beautiful to watch. Koryanka and Peter, the insects are so tiny on these petals, you can barely see them. And we went outside and we are delicately removing them. And it was such a gentle, loving process, gave a little bit of sugar back to Pachamama. So it was really delightful and exciting, that we can make this here on the property and, give these as gifts to people, for people who come to visit us. So yeah, it was a really sacred, lovely process, and I'm so delighted to know about it.
I'm sure Sheila will be waiting for her gift when she gets here in January. Koryanka, is that something that you like to do also with your clients and with the groups that you work with? Is share these kinds of handmade, spiritual, I guess, spiritually connected substances, you will?
Yes. Well, I am also, after I got into the Incan lineage, after a few years, I entered the lineage of the medicine woman working with the spirits of flowers. So I was initiated into that sacred work within a sacred program for 3 years. So that's a relationship I have with the spirits of flowers, and I have been going into ceremonies with them for many years now. And I also take my sister clients through ceremonies of flowers within the programs that I have, both online and in person within the ceremonial immersion as well. And so I often have purchased online essential oils a lot of the times of different flowers and plants. And I have a nice big collection made over the years. And I often notice, I'm not actually using some of these oils at all. And then an opportunity comes along. There is someone out there who comes to me, and I get this intuitive hit that, oh, they need to connect with this spirit guide, with this spirit of the plant. And so I take them through a ceremony with that essential oil, being part of it to connect with this spirit guide. Sometimes people are on their way out of this world, going to their next adventure. And I love to offer anointing to them with essential oils. I make the blends and I bless them. And sometimes I don't get to be in person with them. They are in another place, physically speaking. So I make the blend and I send them their way. And it's a gift for a fellow human being who is my brother or my sister that I might not know myself, but I have the calling. Their spirit guides, my spirit guides are talking to each other, and somehow they're calling me to support in this way and to send their way these essential oil blends that make for a wonderful connection with the spirit guides to receive their support. And so that's what I have done. But I also take every opportunity to make my own oil blends whenever there is that chance. And so I have this oil blend of white rose oil from a place called the House of the Puma. It's a sacred place in Cusco. And there was a time when I happened to go there and the rose bushes were in bloom. So I was there with Peter, my husband, and a spiritual guide that we have in the Incan tradition, and they helped me collect many roses at once. And again, we left the offering of sugar with coca leaves, with prayers to the spirit of Pachamama and to the plant that was providing these roses to make the oil. And now, once again, Sue said, I have so many roses in the property and I don't want them to go to waste. What can we do with them? And so we started collecting them and making another, batch of rose oil, this time with the energetic signature of Huacaywilca, this beautiful mountain over here in Cusco, and the energy of this land in the valley, which is so sacred. So it's very exciting to have the spirit of the rose together with the energies of Pachamama and the mountains here, the Apus. So yes, that makes it very special.
And also, there is that connection to the land, as you talk about, which is an indigenous connection because, obviously, this is an area where the indigenous do their medicine work. I'm not sure if Corey's available or close to his camera, but Corey, is that indigenous spirit of connecting with the plants and with Mother Earth resonate with you? And he's likely wandering about, so I won't harass him until later. Is there anyone else that?
Hey, Greg, no harassment. I'm just working. I'm working on an addition. I'm putting off the kitchen here, listening in. It's been a pleasure listening in. But I'm going to be doing some reflection, I think, today, and just taking it in, if that's okay. I'm also with
absolutely.
My girls here too.
Yes, hammer away. Anyone else like to ask a question? I know, Michelle, you've had some time to spend with Corey Inka one-on-one. Can you talk to us about what that experience was like for you and why it was important?
Oh, it was beautiful. I loved every moment I spent with Corey Inka. And I really love those flower ceremonies, like the rose and the blue lotus. That's what I did. And also the Thanksgiving and also that prayer that with the leaves. It was the most amazing experience. And I would definitely I would want everyone to experience that. She's so amazing. That's all I can say. It's just.
Thank you, Michelle. Corey Inka, is it something that you really like to do? I mean, I've seen you working with people one-on-one online, and it seems like they want to come back again and again to connect with you and your spirit. Is it something very special for you to do that one-on-one work?
Everything is very special. Every human connection, every soul connection with every person is very special. Whether it is one-on-one or in a group setting, it's always very profound. I like to go deep with people. And so when people come to me, usually they are ready for something like that. And we take a deep dive in the reconnection with their own souls, their life missions. They get to do healing, soul searching. They get to connect with the spirit guides more deeply than before. And so my work basically is to facilitate that and to be that person that helps them get closer and closer and closer, and finally to feel in their own divine essence and experience the divine all around them, and be able to also rediscover their own medicine and support others in their own path. So we're all catalysts, one way or another, for others to awaken and to be that divine love and light. And I enjoy it very much because it's my life mission, first of all. That's why I was born. That's why I went through the dark night of the soul. Everything makes sense. And even my qualities and skill set and whatever I know and every experience, even my personality, everything and anything is perfect for the role, and I am meant to be this person doing it this way. Now, there are out there some other priestesses and medicine women, wonderful ones that I love and adore, that are sisters on the same path. And I just can see how amazing it is that each one is doing it their own way. They are being themselves, absolutely honest and transparent, and very devoted and committed to their path. And I get to do myself that in my own way. And we come together, and it's just like we are singing the same song in a way. We're part of a symphony. We are all together in this. We are just kind of like team players, even if we don't know each other. The medicine women, medicine men of the world, the priestesses and priests all over the world, whether we know each other or not, whether we cross paths or not, we are doing teamwork. And that's what matters. And I just love that. And it's very special.
And I think not just teamwork, but when you're working even one-on-one or in groups, you are going through or you're experiencing the ceremonies again and again, which means a lot to you.
Yeah.
So let's say there's someone here or someone who watches us on YouTube who says, I'd like to get started with you. What would you recommend as the first step? Is there a certain program or process?
Yes, there is a process to it. I really care about people getting exactly what they need, what will be for their highest good at any given time. So it's not so much even about what they want or what they think they want, because oftentimes, again, our smart heads can trick us into believing we want this or that, and it's not in alignment. So it's not going to be as impactful as something else that might be actually for you and make a huge difference in your life. So I like to talk to people on a consultation call or interview where we speak about where they're at in their lives, what's going on for them, what matters to them, why they wanted to contact me in the first place. We go through a series of questions and a conversation where I also open up about myself and my path. If I am guided to give them advice or some feedback, I let them know that that's possible, and I go ahead and do that with their permission. And then if it's in alignment, I invite them into one of my programs. And if it's not in alignment, I tell them right there and then. There have been times when they thought they wanted let's say, the Divine Woman Emergence, that is a very basic and necessary program for medicine women starting to walk on the path of the medicine woman. And I talk to them, and sometimes they are needing to heal a great deal of stuff, and they're not quite ready for that program. So I let them know this is really not it. What really will benefit you is the Divine Essence program. Sometimes they want to come to Peru for a ceremonial immersion, and it might be in alignment, so we go ahead and talk about that. If it's not, I tell them right away that the option might be one of the other programs, or I tell them sometimes too that they are not ready, because it's just obvious in the consultation that they still need to work through some stuff to actually be open to creating inner changes and going through the growth and the process of initiation. And I let them know that. Even though that doesn't make me very popular, of course, at that moment. But I do it with love, and because I truly care about people, and it's not about just simply being like, I'm going to do business and, whatever needs to happen for me to get them to jump into one of my programs. I don't care about that. I care for this to happen in a very sacred way, and it has to be in alignment, and it has to be truly the best for them, for me to invite them into the programs.
Yes, and we're not all in the same place, we're all at different places in our lives, in our journeys, and they have to be in the right place, right mindset for you, I'm sure. Is there a group program that you do online that would be something for someone starting out?
The Divine Essence program would be the one where I take women through a process of ceremonies for healing during the 13 months program. And these ceremonies include flower ceremonies, which are very gentle, cacao ceremony, again, which is meant to be very gentle. We also include Incan ceremonies online, which is possible, or distance. Some of them are done distance. And so it's a beautiful blend of ceremonies with themes which are very universal and necessary, working with the Divine Father, masculine energy, healing, realigning, growing in the connection with the Divine Masculine, for instance. And so it goes with the Divine Mother and Divine Feminine. And we have some other beautiful themes. And I work seasonally with the energies of the spirit guides through those themes. And so this is a process that is of inner work, is introspection. It's also sacred, and it's also a process that helps people reconnect with the spirit guides of love and light. From nature, a lot of the times we share the same spirit guides that are very much by our side, taking care of us. But there are some people that are very connected to the stars, people, and it all works out beautifully within the program. So if they were already connected to the spirit guides to some degree, with this healing work, with this realignment, with this personal growth experience, with this soul reconnection that happens in the Divine Essence program, they're also deepening and deepening and deepening the connection with their spirit guides through the 13 months program.
Right. Is there a reason it's 13 months?
Well, the calling was because this is something that I didn't plan for. This program and how it's structured came as information from the spirit guides to me, and I put it on paper, so to speak. And so when I looked at it, they showed me that this program, I was meant to work through the seasons. So, summer, fall, and so it goes. And people also needed, not always, but sometimes, soul retrieval. And I would never know if they needed soul retrieval unless we started the program and they would receive within the program coca leaf reading that I actually could go into. My husband is able to do coca leaf readings, so I would go into that kind of ceremony with my husband Peter on their behalf and find out if they needed soul retrieval or not. So if they needed soul retrieval, the second session would become that soul retrieval, personally, private for them, distance. And if the spirit guide said through the coca leaves, no, they don't need soul retrieval, then we go ahead and do part of the group program, a session for the second gathering. So that required additional time. So by the book, if you look at the season, it might have been probably 12 months program, but because of that addition, it was necessary that it became 13 months. And the interesting thing is I have friends who are priestesses, healers in some European spiritual traditions. And they usually, I learned that they work in numbers of 13 months programs and 13 this and 13 that, which I didn't mean to tap into, like I didn't know, but I found out that this kind of aligned with that way of working with the number 13.
Okay, well, now we know. I think my camera or my internet is delayed by a few seconds here, so I apologize for that. But I see Silesia has her hand raised with a question for you, Cornejo.
Hi, Koryaka. To what degree, oh, to what degree does a person need to participate in their own healing or transformation? Because from a superficial standpoint, when just hearing it from the outside, when you're praying that the plants and mountains and the earth are helping to heal someone or someone is ingesting something, it sounds like the person is passive and these energies are doing all the healing. But I've heard in other Incan ceremonies, for example, someone may come and want to do ayahuasca. And the Incan priestess or whoever is running the program will say, you're not ready for that. You have to do 6 months of work on yourself before you do something like that. So in your work, how much is the person actually participating in their own healing versus these forces are healing them?
That's a great question, Silesia. I'm glad that you're asking. It's always good to clarify that. Well, work that we do is teamwork. And the most important person in the healing process is the person at the center of it all, the person that is receiving healing. So if that person is not willing to receive the healing, even though she is sitting in ceremony, she's going to receive only to the degree that she's willing to receive. Nobody can force that. You can have the most famous healer or shaman or whoever doing work on someone, and the result might be very different from person to person they're supporting, simply because every person is different. And some will be more open, and it's also divine timing, whatever progress is made in a healing ceremony. And so it really depends on so many elements that it's just very difficult to tell, not two people will have the same results, that's for sure. And so whether it is plant medicine, which also is part of the ceremonial immersion that we do in Cusco, where we have a master in ayahuasca plant ceremony leading that ceremony. However, I am present for that ceremony through it all, before and after, even from beginning to end. What happens is in those ceremonies, as much as in the flower ceremonies and Incan ceremonies, I make sure that people understand they are active participants. We are doing this together. And yes, it's in their benefit, but we are doing this together. And my role is to give them everything that I can for them to participate deeply. And my role is also in those ceremonies to hold their hands if they need that, to feel safe, to feel seen, to understand that they are absolutely loved and supported, and that there is nothing that they can do to make them be unlovable, that there is no way they cannot be loved, that there is unconditional love all around for them, and to also encourage them whenever needed, encourage them to go for it, like go the distance. You are in ceremony, you have the opportunity, let's do this together. So it's a beautiful process where, yes, they're very much participants, very actively being there for themselves, being receptive, and being part of the team.
Thank you so much, Cornejo. That was wonderful. Susan, you have a question or comment for Cornejo?
Thank you. I do. Cornejo, and we've talked about this a little. You spoke about your leaving your marriage and your dark night of the soul. And I've heard this referred to going through this period as an illuminating shock. And I would relate in terms of the death of my father and leaving my first marriage, and how that was a huge awakening. And also a gift, obviously, because it shifts your life. And then what we witness when people do a pilgrimage to Peru is that on some level, all the energies of, well, even if they're not doing ceremony, people who are, visiting sacred sites, Machu Picchu, wherever, that there is something happening internally. And in a way, it creates a form of an illuminating shock, whether it's an event per se, or what can also feel like a dark night of the soul when they go back to their life where they came from. And so it is from my experience with we've had a lot of people here over the years, is that it can be a big turning point and not necessarily an easy experience. And I just wondered if you could reflect a little bit on what you've seen in this regard, and maybe what your thoughts might be for people and about this type of thing that can happen.
Yes, I love that you're talking about that. And I will go back to what I said earlier, that not two people are the same, and not two people will have the same experience, right? So after ceremonial immersion in sacred ceremonies for a full week that we usually do is 7 days, 8 ceremonies, some people can go back to their lives, back to their hometowns, their countries, and they can integrate easily. everything that they have received and learned, and they just go with it very seamlessly. Whereas some people have some level of challenge to be able to integrate the new me, right? Because they have gone through healing, so much cleansing and purifying and connecting with Mother Earth, connecting with their spirit guides, connecting with the divine within. So much they have learned and seen and received. And it can be hard for some people, to the point that they can even get physically sick, to the point that they might think that something is wrong with them when they go back to their home, or that they reject somehow their hometown, their people, their family members. I recently had someone that went back home tell me, is this okay? Like, I have come back home, and the places that used to be my normal environment, the places that I used to be okay with, now everything feels weird. Like, I don't find myself at home any longer. I am not enjoying being here. And I don't know, there is something about the environments and experiences. It's just, I don't know how to put it, but kind of weird. And I said to this person, it's okay. It's absolutely normal, because you have gone through inner changes. And like you said, Sue, it might also take something like going to a sacred site and meditating there, or sitting there for a while and connecting with the land in some kind of sacred way for a person to have that shift and that awakening. And so when they're back home, they are like newborns. There is something different about them. And the old place remains the old place. The old people remain the old people. Nothing has changed at home. The same issues and dramas and traumas, that they used to have, these dynamics with people that were not healthy. Everything is there waiting for them. So they go back to that environment, and it's really a shock sometimes. It's like, oh. So I tell people, be patient with the process. Understand that it's absolutely normal to feel that way. You have gone through a lot, big changes inside. You are more illuminated from within. You're more in connection with your soul. You're on a path of growth and healing. And the old place and the old people are not. And so you got to understand that that's normal. And now it's a matter of you slowly going back to your normal daily life and doing your best to tune inwards, to find what it takes to do life in a better way. Now, from this place of who you know you are today, from being in this state of divine essence, realignment, you can start making new choices. You can start communicating with people from that place rather than the old ego where maybe this person, she or he was before. And so I tell them that, yes, it's going to feel weird at the beginning for sure.
Thank you so much, Inka. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. I think we've come to the end of our
Gail
hour.
has her
We're just
hand up,
over.
right? Gail has
I'm
her
so
hand up.
sorry, Gail. It's hard to see in the sunshine here.
Oh,
There's a
too lucky.
complaint for you. Gail, Gail, please go ahead.
I just want to say a big thank you to Koryanka, and Sue. I can relate so much with the last comments about when you do things on another level. I'm talking about levels of energy. It shifts you, and then you come back to, when I would go to conferences, for example, in therapeutic touch, you're immersed in such beautiful, loving energy, that it raises your vibration. Going to Peru did that. And so as you raise and evolve, you come back to the reality of your day to day, and it's like, oh, what is this? But we have to adjust, and just realize that it is our process, and it is our own evolution of our energy field that is shifting all the time, and that we're put into situations in order to clear those things, and understand and be conscious of these things are they're not in alignment, or the alignment has changed, and it's all about us. It's all about going within and realizing, okay, this fits, but this doesn't fit anymore. And so it's just really being aware of your own consciousness. So I just wanted to add to that. And Yeah, thank you. That's it. I know you're almost done here.
Thank you, Gail.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Gail. That was very well put. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Our guest was Inka, Incan High Priestess. As mentioned, her website, alturaspiritualjourneys.com. I put it in the chat for those of you on Zoom as well. I've added our website for Soul School Network. Please feel free to visit there and sign up for our newsletter. We have a newsletter that will give you a hint of who's coming up as our special guests, similar in the way that Inka shared her story with us today. We're also on Facebook and on YouTube if you want to watch previous programs. So thank you, and we look forward to seeing you all in a couple of weeks. Michael's going to jump in here just to share with us the mantra of unification. It's an opportunity for us to share together in prayer as we head out onto our journeys this Sunday.
Greg,
Michael?
may I mention that we're not getting together on December the 21st?
Thank you.
Because of the holiday period and people's schedules. Yeah, thank you.
I'm always the last to be informed of what I've already been told. So I apologize for that. But yes, Michael?
Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Inka. That was a beautiful, beautiful presentation. And so the mantra of unification. The souls of all are one, and I am one with them. I seek to love, not hate. I seek to serve and not exact due service. I seek to heal, not hurt. Let pain bring due reward of light and love. Let the soul control the outer form and life and all events, and bring to light the love that underlies the happenings of the time. Let vision come and insight. Let the future stand revealed. Let inner union demonstrate and outer cleavages be gone. Let love prevail. Let all people love. Wiracocha.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you in a few weeks.
Thank you, everybody.